Over the years, I've been a big advocate of Mexico as a place to plant one of your flags as a nomad capitalist. It's a great place to spend time. And I even went so far in the 2016 election to ask Americans, why do you never threaten to move to Mexico if your candidate doesn't win? And yet, there was one city in Mexico that I recently visited where I just couldn't wait to leave. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson. This is Nomad Capitalist. We're the channel and the company that helps 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs and investors legally go where you're treated best. And let me set the scene for you. I'm in Playa del Carmen earlier this year for our sold-out Nomad Capitalist live conference. Robert Kiyosaki, the former president of Georgia, we had a great time at the Grand Hyatt Hotel. And I had spent about a month and change before the conference in Mexico City, which I think is one of the world's greatest cities. You go to neighborhoods like Polanco and Lomas. I think that you've got a relatively safe place to live, lots going on, vibrant, decent English if your Spanish isn't that developed. There's just great places to go in Mexico City. And I've been to some other parts of Mexico over the years, on the West Coast, on the Yucatan, cities like Merida, which is the safest place in Mexico to live, pretty darn safe place to be, if not a little bit sleepier. And I said, hey, let me expand from here on the coast of Mexico. Let me go and explore a bit further. And so we get in the car and we leave Playa del Carmen, and quite frankly, it all goes downhill from there in Mexico's city of Tulum. We check into our apartment in Tulum. Now, one of the challenges with Mexico that I think you need to be careful with is, in these touristy areas, it is very developed for tourism, and so you really have to be careful. Like, I thought we were getting basically a villa, and we did have a private pool, and everything was very nice. I didn't realize that they built above the villa to where you then have people kind of looking down into your private pool. Some of the typical kind of like Airbnb or VRBO tricks that I've just been frustrated with over the years, which is one of the reasons why I preferred to have real estate in some of these places where I like to spend a lot of time just to get things exactly the way that I want. But we check into the house. It's kind of disappointing. It's certainly not cheap in Tulum, which is fine. And so I go out, and Mrs. H is doing some things. I'm like, I want to go for a walk. And so I walk up the main strip. And one thing that happened on a recurring basis, on a couple of different times, was I'm walking up, and there's this guy in the restaurant. He's like, hey, brah, like, step on in, like, take the frown upside down and get some good mood fit in you, brah. I'm looking the first time, just like, no. I keep walking. And like this, like after like the second or third time of this happening, where guys are like, just like, the good mood food and all that, I just went Larry David to this guy. I'm like, hey, we're on the sidewalk. We get the good food in the thing. We don't want it out here. We're on the sidewalk. And I really just got kind of frustrated with the guy because everyone like wants me to come in for their acai bowl with all the granola and everything. And then so I get up to the main strip, and I turn and I'm walking down like the main strip in the middle of Tulum. And first of all, it just doesn't look that nice. There's like empty lots and like, stray animals and just not really very nice or developed. Every once in a while you see like a vegan pizza place or a hashish dispensary or something. And there's all these pharmacies where it's like the highest strength, muscle relaxants, buy one, get 3 free. I'm like, you can keep the buy one, get 3 free. And then I keep walking, and then I walk down to this intersection. I kid you not. I don't know if this is like, if you've been to Tulum and you've seen this, or maybe it's just me, comment below. I walk down. It's like 3 o'clock on a, what day was it after the conference? I don't know, a Monday or something. 3 o'clock in the afternoon. A grown man, I remember it, curly blonde hair. The guy's walking around in like a ratty polo shirt that like barely covers his torso, and a pair of soiled men's white briefs, and then sneakers. And I said, I can't. I gotta take a powder in this place. I got to get out. What am I doing here? And so then I'm like, all right, I'm turning around. I'm seeing a guy in soiled white briefs. This is enough for me. This is not. And then I'm going back, and I see a guy who was at the conference, and he's riding by on his bike. And he's like, hey, Andrew, go where you're treated best. I'm like, yeah, believe me, I'm going. And then I stop at this grocery store. I've never been in a more disgusting grocery store. I don't remember the name of this place. This grocery store, there's like a queue at the front door. It took me like 10 minutes to get in because they're like letting one person at a time. This grocery store would have fitted in the Soviet Union. I mean, this grocery store was huge. Half the space, the place actually had shelves. The shelves were like empty. Every fruit had like a million flies surrounding it. Like the fish, like it was like repulsive. And then I'm like, all right, I'll get a few like packaged things just to take back to the house. And I go in there's like one line open. It's like 20 minutes. I said, forget it. I'll starve. And so I keep walking home. And of course, more of the good mood food and more of the muscle relaxants and all of that. But that was the beginning. That was my first day in Tulum. Now, we had some friends that came and visited us. And, they came over to the house for a party. And we ordered takeout. I have not felt worse than with this takeout. And by the way, again, I'm not opposed to spending money, but when you're in a dumpy city that's full of dirty-looking restaurants, like a bad version of Bali, $60 for a couple of pizzas, pass. But we got some pizzas and like some nachos or whatever it was one day. I have not felt worse in my entire natural-born life, honestly. I have been to Mexico for months on end. The perils that come with eating in Mexico. This is like nothing I've ever seen. And by the way, for like 2 months afterwards, I felt terrible. This food, whatever they put in this good mood food, really hit me. And so people are coming over. We just didn't want to go anywhere. We walked around. We were in this kind of area where they're building a lot of different stuff. And it's interesting. But in a way, it just felt very hollow to me. And we're going around, and like there were a couple nice restaurants. We went like one night. We went to a halfway decent restaurant, but just the vibe. Now, I've always said, I think vibe is a very important thing. I landed in Bangkok. I knew almost immediately Bangkok wasn't for me, and I went on to spend about a month. I just didn't enjoy myself in Bangkok back 9 years ago. That's not to say if you like Bangkok, that we have to disagree. I mean, we do disagree, but we're not enemies. Vibe is important. The vibe for me, I just couldn't wait to get out. Dotted with the grocery stores where it just seemed like nothing worked, with guys running around, like some guy in Quaaludes running around in his underwear. And then like one day we went for brunch. I've always eaten lots of different foods. I've never been that particular. And I've been to Laos. I got all these off the wall places. So I'm not like the cleanliness nut. We went to probably like the dirtiest feeling brunch place one day. I just felt like I said like I hope I'm not getting some like hair that's been sitting from the good mood food or something like in my smoothie. Just the whole place just turned me off. And so is part of that the vibe? Yeah. Is part of that the people that I came in contact with? I guess so. There certainly are some very nice places in Tulum. There's one of my favorite restaurants in Cancun and Playa and in Mexico City is Harry's Steakhouse, and they have some kind of like adapted not a steakhouse but like a fish kind of new concept Harry's down on the water. We were staying in kind of the area where you wanted to live because actually my idea at one point was let's have a place in Tulum. There's plenty of development going on, plenty of places that look good in the 3D renderings. Wasn't impressed by any of the construction that I saw, quite frankly. I was living in some of it that was supposed to be the nicer construction because it was quite expensive. Just wasn't impressed, so we decided against that. And we just kind of decided like, okay, it's not worth the schlep because the taxis were kind of hard to get in touch with, and it's like, do you want to walk an hour to go down to Harry's and look at the hotel zone? So I did not make it to the hotel zone, but I did make it to where you would want to live if you lived there. And between all those factors, honestly, I was there for about 3 days. Mrs. H and I and our two friends who came, honestly, we couldn't make a beeline fast enough. If it weren't for the fact that we already had a flight booked back from Cancun to Mexico City like 3 or 4 days later, we would have just bailed earlier on, honestly. So I want to hear your comments on this because I'm sure some people disagree with me. I'm sure some of you like walking around with guys who have soiled themselves in the streets under the afternoon sun. I'm sure maybe some of you are hitting those muscle relaxers. I don't know, man. It's not my scene. But if you think I'm wrong, leave a, or maybe you think I'm right, leave a comment below. I want to know what you think of Tulum, the one city in Mexico I couldn't leave fast enough. Don't stop now. We've got well over 1,000 more videos here on YouTube for you to watch and learn how to go where you're treated best. And if you want to work with Nomad Capitalist personally, go to nomadcapitalist.com/apply, learn about our unique, tried and true process, garnered over years of experience, and learn how you can become our client.